The Orion spacecraft performed very well during the Artemis I unmanned test mission. On December 11th, the last key phase of the mission occurred, a return to Earth. It was no easy task. The spacecraft had to slow down from its velocity of 40,000 km per hour to zero within a few tenths of minutes. The re-entry phase began at 17 o'clock UTC, when the European service module separated from the re-entry module. It had already fulfilled all of its tasks and could thus burn up in the Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific. On the other hand, the return module did not enter the atmosphere directly, but used a short skip entry profile instead. Thanks to the ignition of its thrusters and its own lifting capability, the cabin brushed lightly against the upper atmosphere at first, and only a few minutes later did it plunge into the atmosphere definitively. This procedure has several advantages. It reduces not only the stress on a heat shield, but also G-forces on crew and cargo. It is also possible to optimize a landing site thanks to this method. Although a few days ago it was expected that Orion would splash down about 130 kilometers off the coast of California, in the end it did not. Strong winds raised dangerously high waves on the planned area. NASA therefore moved the landing area to a distance of about 480 kilometers from the coast. When the spacecraft slowed down enough, the next step of the landing sequence commenced. 4 sets of parachutes were opened, one after another. Astonishing 11 individual chutes in total. On the last 3 35-meter diameter chutes, the Orion descended into the ocean and splashed down on its surface at 1740 UTC. The mission elapsed time of the Artemis I mission was 25 days, 10 hours, 53 minutes and 46 seconds. During the entire duration of the mission, there was no significant malfunction or failure that would threaten the spacecraft. All the collected data must be analyzed, but the ship itself does not appear to be damaged after landing. So we can boldly pronounce a statement that the path to return of humans to the moon has been paved.
From Tranquility Base to Taurus Littrow to the tranquil waters of the Pacific, the latest chapter.
Orion was left afloat for several hours after the landing. That is because NASA wanted to test the ship's capability of cooling down after returning to Earth. Therefore, the measurements of temperature sensors in the cabin could not have been affected by any sources of radiating heat, such as people or machines in the vicinity. A few days ago, we presented you a footage of NASA and US Navy specialists rehearsing procedures for handling with Orion. This time, that is no longer a mock-up, but a real re-entry module that orbited the moon just a few days ago. The Orion cabin was pulled into the amphibious transport dock ship USS Portland, which will transport it to the port of San Diego. The cabin was docked there less than 6 hours after the landing. The US Navy has been involved in locating and retrieving of all NASA re-entry modules for decades. This tradition will therefore continue in the Artemis program. On the next Artemis mission, there will be 4 people on board the Orion spacecraft, 3 Americans and 1 Canadian. However, we do not know their names yet. Of Officially, the Artemis II mission is planned for 2024, but it will be postponed about a year quite likely. The cause of the anticipated delay is that the Artemis II Orion will reuse computers from the Artemis I mission. According to NASA, the entire process of reinstalling the computers should take 27 months. So if there are no changes in the workflow and schedules, another Orion should be able to be launched not earlier than in the first half of 2025. A Chinese Tianlong-3 rocket conducted its maiden launch on December 9th. It launched from the Taizhui Sea platform in the East China Sea and delivered a total of 14 satellites into orbit. On December 8th, a Long March 2D rocket launched from the Taiwan Satellite Launch Center. It delivered the Gaofen 501A satellite to a sun-synchronous orbit. The satellite will be used for Earth observation purposes. Our channel reached a beautiful milestone. Thanks to you, we crossed the 400 subscribers mark. Thank you very much for your support, and let's move on to the next 100.